guess I'll just start with, going into this week with Baylor, something I talked about with Sonny earlier today. You guys go from that huge win against Iowa State and then getting shut out at home. How do you, I guess, kind of level yourself back out morale-wise?
Well, personally, I embrace the whole concept of that Sunday practice after you get done with the game. You put it all behind you, and the next week you just reset. And I've gotten pretty good at that. You can't let last week define you. If anything, you have to let it motivate you. You have to go forward and understand that with the next week, if you had some issues the past week, you have to focus on what caused those issues and rectifying them.
And then, coming into this week, it is the last game of the regular season. You still have a bowl game ahead of you, but how important is it to you and I guess the rest of the team to make sure you finish out the regular season on a high note?
It's extremely important. And the thing is that this last game is going to get us to the point where it's going to give us some confidence going into whatever bowl game we might get, as well as might put us in a better bowl game. And honestly, it'd feel really nice to keep a three-way tie from happening at the top of the Big 12. Personally, I've played Baylor for 2 years now. First year, felt like we got cheated out of a win. Last year, we got a win against them, and I'm looking forward to playing them again and just going through that battle one more time.
Oh, what about this Baylor team, in your opinion, kind of sticks out that's made them so successful? I mean, you just said it, they're in that battle for that three-way tie.
If I'm being honest, I've played pretty much the exact same team for the last 2 years. I know those guys not personally, but I've competed against them. I know their numbers, I know their faces, I know how they played in the last couple of years, and as I've gotten older, the battles between us have just kept happening, and honestly, they're the same guys. We can do the same thing to them.
From a kind of X's and O's standpoint, how would you describe their defensive front or like their box, so to speak?
They like to embrace they have a jack on the end, and they like to drop him out, but they also like to have a linebacker and a nickel, especially involved in the run game, and blitzes too. Their interior defensive linemen are pretty stout, pretty solid. They're the same guys, like I said, I've been playing. The exterior guys have changed up a little bit, but for the most part, they're the same. Eight's the same guys last year, and the linebackers, they play aggressive. They come downhill, and they're all right, or they're all right in coverage, but it's nothing that we haven't seen before.
Going back to Oklahoma State, a lot of their guys were the same names as last year or so. And last year, up there, scored 44. Sir Roderick and Xavier both had big days, and Eric had a big day. What was so different on Saturday night?
In that same vein, I guess that playing the same guys year in, year out for a while, I mean, that Oklahoma State team is obviously very old and very experienced, and I think they might have understood us a little bit better than what we would have liked. We probably should have done some different things. I know I could have done some different things and understood them better, but the thing about it is what happened. We can't really defend what happened, and this next week we'll hopefully have learned a lesson and go and take these guys the right way.
If I understood you correctly a moment ago, you said you felt like y'all kind of got cheated out of the win a couple of years ago, so you haven't forgotten about that.
That was the first Big 12 game I ever started. So when we went down there and I was playing against that team, I hurt my shoulder. We were neck and neck, and we get to the first overtime, and I think we had scored, and their defense or their offense fumbles from a bad snap, and they called it a snap infraction, and it definitely wasn't. It was a bad snap, fumble. We recovered. That would have been game, but whenever we got back out there, we weren't able to make it happen with the second overtime, and that stuck with me.
I think Jalen said earlier today they didn't even know what a snap infraction was until that game.
Snap infraction is whenever a center twitches and moves the ball, and then I think it's a dead ball penalty. So the ref blows the whistle and gets everybody up, but that ball was in play.
And kind of bouncing off what Don said about Oklahoma State being kind of similar, to this defensive line that you're going to go up against with Baylor. That said, is kind of protecting Donovan going to be the same mindset? What might be a little bit different about that?
with this defense, what their focus is bringing unexpected pressure from areas that you're not going to really be able to cover or getting you out of position for that. And I think that this week we're going to focus more on getting to those blitzes and to those pressures, and we're going to make sure we're on top of it come Saturday, and we're going to be in front of those guys when they're coming after Donovan. And Donovan, he's going to play his game. He's a great guy, and I love him to death, and I think he's got a really bright future here. So we're going to protect for him, and then he's going to get in his groove, and we're going to go win the game.
I mean, I've been asking it to really everyone today, but you go from that Iowa State game that was such a high, then to this Oklahoma State game that was a low. How's the morale been for you guys so far, and how can you, I guess, get it back to level?
Morale's been pretty good still.
Yeah.
We understand that we didn't play our best game this past week or whatever, but we can't let one game cost us two. So the thing is, we know that we're one of the best teams in the nation, so we believe in them. We trust these coaches and everything. So now the thing is just to go back out here and prepare better, and so we can go out there and execute this weekend.
And another thing we just talked about before too, finishing the regular season obviously is something of emphasis, but it also could get you into a better bowl game now that you guys are both qualified. So how big of a deal, I guess, is this week for you guys?
I mean, the goal every week is just to become 1-0. We're not really focusing on what bowl game and better bowl games and all that stuff. We're just trying to get better so that we become 1-0 this week, and that's been the goal this entire season. And it just so happened that we were blessed enough to get to that 6 win or whatever that we wanted. And so that's just us trying to figure out how to stack success now. I mean, like I said, we went from Iowa State game to Oklahoma State, and so we just got to figure out what we're going to do this weekend and how we're going to go out there and execute.
Tony, the night of the TCU game, you sat in there and said, that after y'all had given up all those rushing yards, y'all are going to get fixed and this is going to stop and whatnot. Sure enough, you pretty much have. What would you say the key reasons have been?
Just paying attention to detail, focusing on the little things such as being fitted properly, lining up properly, taking the right amount of steps and the right necessary first step. Because football is a game of inches, and every little detail can either cost you a yard or two, or cost a negative yardage or whatever. So I think that's just what we've done. We've kind of slowed things down to individuals so that we can emphasize the important details that we need to finish up doing every weekend, so that we can continue to stop the run.
Jalen Warren had 5 100-yard games in his last 8 before Saturday. Y'all held him under 40. How did you feel kind of about the job you did against him?
Yeah, like I said, just locking in, paying attention to those details and executing, which allowed us to hold him to many rushing yards that he had.
It seems like earlier in the season, the talking point with you guys was you had those troubles, defending the run game. But now you've had back-to-back games where you're holding these guys to, career or season lows. What has really been the major thing that's been able to turn it around from defending that run?
Just our mentality has changed pretty much. It's kind of when it's dealing with stopping the run and defeating the run or whatever for these teams, it's really just a mindset about it. There's no right or wrong scheme for it. It's just about who wants it the most. Either the offense and there's on other teams or us. And for us, we decided that we want to stop the run. We want to make teams one-dimensional versus us. And I think we've done a decent job with that.
What about Smith stands out to you as far as the running back goes for Baylor?
Real good, talented, quick, shifty, and everything. He has a great offensive line in front of him. The same with the rest of these teams in the Big 12. We're not really going to stop him. we have a goal, which is allow the whole team as overall less than 100 yards, and so that's our mission every week. And we're going to work hard and focus on those details and everything to make sure that we accomplish that goal this weekend.
We were talking in there earlier today with Jalen. He's become quite a playmaker this year, and he's told us about how last year, after got him, he said he had a high ankle sprain in the first game. It bothered him all season, getting treatment for it all season. How have you felt about his play since he's been healthy this year?
His play has been outstanding. I think he's one of the best interior defensive linemen in his conference and stuff. And so there's no surprise to me that now that he's healthier or whatever, that he's making all these big plays. Him, Tyree, Devin, Phillip, all them guys are doing spectacular jobs this season. So I'm proud of it. I'm curious to see how they're going to end it off.
Sonny told us today that Nelson's out will be out for the rest of the year. What are y'all going to?
The coach coming to y'all?
Yeah, Coach told us that. What are y'all going to do to rally around him?
It's one of the things to where it's as unfortunate as that is. It's we know that football is a game that you can get hurt in a lot of just one bad play or whatever. And it sucks for the guy, but you know he still be around, he still support us, he still comes to the games and everything like that. So it's great to see his spirits high. You know he knows that we're his brothers and that we're here for him. So just keep him in y'all prayers or whatever, he'll be fine.
Keith said a couple of weeks ago, and then Jalen mentioned it today, that y'all changed a little bit your kind of defensive approach from the line with more movement or whatnot up front. He said you don't have any massive, huge guys up front, kind of help y'all take advantage of your quickness. How has that kind of developed from your standpoint, and how has that helped y'all improve your defense, become more productive defensive line?
It allowed guys such as Jalen, Devin, and Ty, Phillip, and me, of course, to make those plays and to have career high TFLs and sacks and everything like that. So we pretty much look at it as like we're not just a bunch of fat guys that's just going to eat up offensive linemen. We kind of look at it more of like we're linebackers with our hands in the ground. We're more athletic. We're going to move around. We're going to stunt. We're going to be quick off the ball. And so that allows us to make plenty of plays.
You remember what your initial reaction was to that? When Coach told you kind of what the plan was? The change that you were making?
I was like, you know what? Whatever you want to do, I'm down for it. I trust KP, you know, with my life. So whatever he wants to do with this defense or whatever, I'm down for it. It's not me. I'm just let you run play.
If you were ever, I know you're planning to be a police officer, but if you were a defensive line coach, Tony, what kind of defensive line coach would you be?
As far as position,
Yeah.
I'd probably be more defensive tackle than those.
Well, I mean, from a player standpoint, would you be a drill sergeant or would you be a players coach to level them up or somewhere in between? What kind of coach would you be?
I'd probably be more of a drill sergeant. Hire somebody else to be the players coach. I'm a love on guys and everything, but it's never been in my dream to become a coach anyway. I mean, you never know what God has planned for you, but if that is the route, I'll be more of a drill sergeant. have a GA or something, hug on guys or something.
So, Coach, something Sonny talked about a little bit today was just, what happened with Oklahoma State, the defensive effort he felt was really good. I just want to know what was clicking for you guys now.
Yeah, I think we're continuing to get better. You know, I mean, 2 weeks in a row, knock on wood, we've stayed healthy with the same people out in the field 2 weeks in a row. I think it was just the confidence that we gained in playing well. For most part of the game against Iowa State just carried over. And, we were doing a nice job attacking the line of scrimmage. And it was just, it could have been, it was close to being, it could have been a lot better, a 4th and 2 where they said, we called it, we said hut. I mean, I don't know where that came from. I mean, we don't say hut. And he misses the field goal, which led to a touchdown. Then the one series where we had them 3rd and 12, 3rd and 4. Then we hold them on the third, or the second, third, fourth, the third down in that series. We sack him, and we get called for holding to the field. It was kind of a weird deal. And then they called Rico for holding, and it was the kid tried to block him. And it just kind of turned into a weird deal. But other than that, those 2 scoring drives, if we could have eliminated both those right there, it'd been 9-0 or whatever, something like that. And then we had the one missed opportunity, Rabbit. Well, if he picks that ball out, it's a touchdown. So there were a couple of opportunities there for us to be able to even take it and play at a whole nother level than what we actually did. But to hold a team like that to four something yards of play, that was big for us.
In weeks past, earlier in the season, a lot of the talk was just, you guys defending the running game and the struggles that came from that. But just in recent weeks against Hall and Warren, you guys have really stepped up. What's been the turning point for you guys to really put those to rest?
Well, I think, again, the improvement up front, and we're not playing as many people at linebacker. We're playing about 6 guys at linebacker. And I think that kind of affected some of the communication in the Texas game, which led to a lot of it, a lot of our struggles, and then just some things technically that we had to look at up front, and then the whole the TCU night, that was just personnel driven a little bit, because we've done the same thing schematically. the whole season. So, but yeah, it really starts with. I mean, we really have since probably Kansas State, Oklahoma, Iowa State, and then even Saturday night played really well up front, destroying the line of scrimmage. You know, been pleased with our guys there. And we're continuing to get better.
And now going into Baylor with Smith in the backfield, what's going to be like defending him? And I guess really, it feels like every week we're talking about these great running backs you guys have to go against.
It's kind of shifted from a couple of years ago. It was all quarterbacks that you faced, and now there's been some really dynamic running backs in the league this year that we've come up against, and our kids have really stepped up, and they like the challenge of it. And you have two completely different running styles. You have one guy that got great speed, lower body strength, gets the ball out on the perimeter, and is very dangerous. And you got the other one is very sticks his cleats in the grass and gets the ball going north and south. Both of them run very physical. So again, it starts up front again with those guys and getting after the line of scrimmage and letting the linebackers play and make plays.
Is there any pattern to how they use those two?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it seems Ebner plays a little bit more out of 11 personnel groupings, and then obviously then plays less than 12 personnel. But I think as far as the plays and the way they're trying to attack you, not really. I mean, they're. I think the best thing they've probably done to me, it looks like they've really just streamlined the offense, and their execution of their offense is at a really high level, and that's what's made them very effective this season. I mean, they got great confidence in what they're doing, and not saying that it's simple, but you can tell they've streamlined it and they're really effective. It's run, a lot of perimeter run, play action, and nakeds, and they're doing, like I said, they're doing a really nice job of executing.
So Smith they run north. You said Ebner with 11, Smith north.
Yeah,
12.
yeah.
Or
And they'll both play in 11 and 12, but there seems to be a heavier tendency with Smith in 12 and Ebner in 11.
And you're like third and long pass rush package. I'm not sure what package you call it, nickel or whatever. Did you make it Nick the other night or Matthew Young? Matthew Young played a pretty decent number of snaps really for the first time in like a big situation.
Yeah, we were missing Brandon Randall and let's see, Big Cheetah was a game time decision. He ended up being available, so we had practiced man all week long. And I tell you, he's just been really doing some good things in practice, and just the way he's working, and he's physical. Had a really decent showing in the Kansas game. So, man, he was a guy that was healthy and dependable. I thought she was giving him a chance to see what he can do.
Because you used him 6 or 8 plays.
Yeah. And he played pretty well, to be honest. I mean, he's a strong kid. He's explosive, and I just like what I've seen from him here over the last few weeks. So we throw him out there.
What do you call that package? It's like the
Peso. Yeah.
It's 2 down and 4 linebackers. You call it what?
Peso.
Peso.
P-E-S-O.
Oh, P-E-S-O.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peso. All right.
Peso.
Good.
Yep.
Well, you know what? I know in that package, you mainly use Devin, Tyree. Seems like it's the 2 down
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tyree,
Yeah.
pass rush ability, with speed is apparent. Devin has been giving you some good effort too. What's the competition like for that spot to stay in the field and pass it down?
Well, sometimes we'll even do it just like to give guys a blow, like, because we're really down to about 5 guys that we play consistently with Philip and Jalen and Tony and Ty and Devin. So sometimes it's just, hey, who's the freshest? Like, so the other night at that time, Jalen, he needed a blow, and that's even Rico. That was just an opportunity to be able to get Rico and some of those guys off the field as well, like the other linebackers. So there's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, those guys all want to get in there on that stuff, because that's where we'll get really aggressive and try to get to the quarterback and obviously, guys want to try to create sacks and stuff.